Whatever we're doing with Media Composer, there will be numerous ways for us to achieve our goals. If we understand some basics about how the system works with media, we'll be able to make smarter and more efficient choices about how we work. I've got numerous effects down here in my timeline. I'm actually going to go ahead and mute my audio tracks like so. I'm just going to play back these effects and we'll see what they look like. Depending upon the resolution of your material and the power of your computer, you may find that certain effects are real-time, whilst others may require rendering. A real-time effect is one where the system can calculate the changes to the image or audio on the fly and display the result as the timeline plays back. Many of the effects are real-time in Media Composer, and that's indicated by this green dot here. A non-real-time effect is indicated by the blue dot. And what this is telling us is that the system will not be able to make the calculations on the fly. The effect definitely will have to be rendered. But sometimes, even real-time effects are hard for the system to play back, depending upon the complexity of the effect, the number of layers involved, and the resolution of your material, even the power of your computer. It can mean that real-time effects can sometimes stutter or not play back smoothly in the timeline. Like so. Or here again. Or here again. To solve this, we can render those effects. This means that rather than waiting until that very moment in the timeline and then trying to do the math on the fly, we ask the system to calculate the effect beforehand and then write the effect out as a media file just like any other clip. That way, when the system comes to that effect on the timeline, instead of bogging down computer resources trying to make the calculation, Media Composer just calls up the pre-rendered media file and plays that back for the duration of the effect instead. In order to render an effect, what we would do is park on that effect in the timeline, make sure that the track is active for the clip that we want to render. Next, we come here to the Render Effect button. Click that and a dialog opens. This is just simply confirming that we want to render to the Managed Media Files folder on the D drive. Click OK. We have a dialog box which shows us the progress of our render, and once this is complete, we will be able to play the effect back guaranteed in real time. Okay, let's see how that looks. There we go. So we've got completely smooth playback now on that effect. Now, the majority of Media Composer effects are designed to be real-time when played back on a reasonably new and powerful computer. The older your machine, the more likely you are to have to render. Now, one drawback of rendering effects is that the process takes time. Sometimes, when we are designing an effect, we just want to see how the effect flows over time. To have to keep stopping in order to render the effect can interfere with the creative process. Another way that you can get around this is to use the video quality menu. Here at the bottom of the timeline, there's the video quality menu, and I can toggle it between full green, full yellow, and half green, half yellow. Now, if I'm in full green mode, this is displaying full quality. It's displaying all of the pixels all of the time. Now, depending on the resolution of your material, that can be quite resource hungry, meaning that when we try and play back effects that would normally be real time, that they might stutter or even freeze. What we can do is we can drop ourselves down to the next quality level, half yellow, half green, and see how that plays back. Okay, we're getting more movement, but it's still stuttering. So let's drop ourselves right down to full yellow mode, which is the lowest quality, but will provide the greatest opportunity to see the effect in real time. Okay, now we get an idea of what the effect would be like at full quality. And if we're happy with that, then we can bump our quality back up and then go ahead and render this effect too. So far, we've been adding effects directly to clips. What I'd like to show you now is that I can actually add an effect to an entire track. I'm going to add a video track to my timeline. Right-click, New Video Track. Now I've got Video Track 2. Disable 1, because I'm going to add an effect across the entire timeline. I'm I'm going to come up here to the effects palette, and I'm going to come to the generator category. Now, not all effects are designed for the audience to see. Some are utility effects. Here, for example, I have the timecode burn-in effect. If I drag and drop that, it's going to drop across the entire track of V2, covering all of the sequence. I'm going to have to monitor V2 in order to be able to see it. And you can see there now, I've got a timecode reader that's overlaying on top of my sequence. If I want to customize this, I just have to go back into effects mode. I can reposition the timecode box like so. I'll make it bigger. I can also come down and switch on a second display, and instead of showing timecode this time, I could maybe say, let's have a look at the source clip name. Let's affect the size of that too. Reposition that. And close the effect. If I play that back, you can see that this effect plays over the entire timeline, over top of all the other clips with their effects on them. So not all effects are designed for the audience to see. In this particular case, having a readout of the timecode in my sequence and the name of individual clips in the sequence, a producer or a director or anyone else I'm working with can have an intelligent conversation with me about the sequence that I'm working on. Certain effect types fulfill technical or production workflow requirements. Other effect types are purely to enhance story, pace, rhythm, and meaning.